What's up, cool kids? You're tuned in to another episode of the Power in Prose podcast. I am here to be honest. This episode is called Can I Be Honest? And I got to be honest. Perfection has been messing your girl up, okay? Perfection has been stopping me from recording. I have not recorded a podcast episode in a couple weeks. It has kept me from honestly launching my apparel line. There have been a couple of tweaks that I need to make, but for real, I'm scared, right? And it has been robbing me of my peace, my creativity, my voice, my confidence, connection with other people. Like, I find myself wanting to stay in the house and not leave. I will find myself just nitpicking at things, making something small really big. It really just ain't tea. Like, it's not a space that I want to continue to exist in. But if I'm being honest, it's where I have been. And I honestly thought about not recording the podcast anymore. I haven't been seeing the same number of listens lately, and then I'm doing YouTube, so I'm like, okay, I'm feeling good with YouTube. I'm getting a little bit of traction there. Maybe I should just put all my energy into YouTube, except I wouldn't be posting on YouTube if I didn't have the podcast to start off with. And so that felt not genuine to how I even started this whole thing. And I don't really feel a call, if you will, to no longer record the Power in Prose podcast. I just no longer knew how to present in this space. And I was looking on how I could be as perfect as possible, as quickly as possible, so I can come on here and give people tips and tricks, but I've lived through everything and I'm not currently going through anything. And what I had to remind myself is that would stop me from being true to who I am. There are brand pillars that I have, and authenticity and transparency is a part of that. And Power in Prose, the whole point of it is to share your story, that every person has a story. Prose is another word for story. When you share your story, that's where your power is. And my story right now is that there are a lot of things that are changing, that are moving, that are grooving. There's a lot that I'm trying to figure out. There's a lot that I don't feel an expert in my own story right now. And that's okay. And I have to constantly, every day, tell myself that that's okay, because my default is that it's not. My default is that I have to be perfect. I have to be on. I have to know not just the next step, but the next 10 steps that I'm supposed to take. And if I don't, then I can't move forward. If I don't, then I can't connect with people until I figure it out, because I can't afford to do that. I should be moving and working towards my goals. And that's not true. So I want to just come on and be honest about why there are moments when I don't want to share, why there are moments where I'm just not feeling on. Like, I feel like there's a deeper piece of my creativity and places and spaces that I could grow into, and I don't want to do it because I know it's not all going to be perfect. I know there are going to be times when I struggle. There are going to be times when I'll say something and then I have to change it and say something else. There are going to be moments where I am not as sure when I do something, but that is not a reason for me to not go after the thing in the first place. And if I can be real, that is a little intimidating. It makes me wonder about perception on the other end, and it stops me from trying things. And I don't want to live that way. I want to live a life where it can be exciting, and that there are new things, and the new things don't cause me to run away. The new things don't silence me. And that's what I've been doing. I have been silencing myself a bit because I'm waiting to speak until everything's polished and clean and perfect, and I know exactly what's going to come out of my mouth. And that is not where I'm at right now. There are times when I forget that that's why we connect, because I ain't perfect. Y'all don't connect with me because I'm perfect. I don't connect with other people because they're perfect. You connect from the story, and that's the whole point of this whole thing. There are moments where I'm sharing my story And I'm like, okay, is it enough where people are getting something from it? Am I just venting right now? What's happening? And I want to make sure that I am being fruitful to people as I'm going about this journey of being a creative, of sharing, and creating this space of cool kids for us to rock together. So for those who have continued to rock with me, and I'm not putting enough respect on your name, I appreciate you and I thank you for real, because it's a journey. Like, ever since I lost my job last year, and I'm taking my creativity seriously, more serious than before, moving from hobby to monetization, moving from working just sometime to working on it all the time. There's a lot with my mental that I'm undergoing. There's a lot with habits that I had before that I'm having to change and shift. And I'm also getting a lot more opinions and advice from people. And so I'm trying to filter all this info that I have from myself, from others, and figure out what do I keep, what do I not keep. And it can be overwhelming at times. And I'm also still trying to keep up relationships with friends, family, and all of that. So I am not making excuses, but I just wanted to be honest about where I've been, what I'm doing, about how I feel. I don't feel as sure about my brand as I did before. I don't feel as sure about the podcast specifically as I did before. And I had to like recenter and remember the podcast is to inspire people to share. It's to inspire people to speak. And I do that by speaking and sharing things, by interviewing other people. And then that's how it happens. And so I'm here and I'm showing up to do that, and hopefully you get something today. And so with me removing those barriers of my honesty in this time, I've had to do 3 things. The first is recognize. If you are silencing yourself, if you're waiting on that perfect moment, you gotta recognize that that's what's happening. A lot of times we'll use different language and say, it's this thing that's in the way, or I'm waiting on this thing and then I'll move forward. Or you'll say, I'm scared. I don't even think I'm at a point where I'm scared anymore, if we're being honest. I'm showing y'all more of my living room than I have before, and I don't have art up on the wall. I don't have a coffee table yet. Like, there's things that I'm showing you that I didn't want to show, if we're being honest, like a month ago, 2 weeks ago. And today I'm like, let's do it. Like, let's just get it done, right? So I think I had to recognize, like, you're holding back. And that's just what it is. It is not about anything else. It's not, oh, well, when I get this, then I'll share or whatever. It's like, no, you're holding back right now because you're holding back right now. That's what it is. With me not showing up on a podcast, I have to recognize, it actually doesn't have to do with the numbers. It doesn't have to do with you're not getting affirmation, or you're waiting on your next big break, or when's the next guest gonna come. You're not confident in your story right now. Because you're not confident in your story, because you're waiting on your story, the chapter to change, you don't want to share the chapter that you're in right now. I had to recognize what was happening. And that takes vulnerability. It takes you being honest with yourself before you're even honest with other people. It takes a lot of quiet time and dedication to trying to figure out the root of what's actually going on. The next thing that I did was I had to strategize, and not too much strategizing, because if you do too much strategizing, you get back in that realm of creating barriers for yourself, and then you're no longer walking from an honest place. So in my strategizing, I can't hold on to things too long. It's like, okay, we're saying we're gonna do something, let's do it. I wanna do it with wisdom, I wanna do it with integrity, I wanna do it with thoughtfulness, but I cannot create additional touch points that aren't necessary for the step that I'm at, because that is procrastination, friends. Like, that is creating barriers that don't need to be there for the moment. What you need are the reps. You need to get the reps up of stepping out and doing something to help you strategize for the next chapter, for the next moment, for your next connection, for your next check, all of that. And so strategizing for me right now is, I have ideas. I have plenty of ideas. I've been had ideas. So it's like, okay, what is the next thing that we're putting out? We're just gonna take the idea, move. Take the idea, move. That is my strategy right now. I wanna feel good, but I don't have to feel necessarily 100% confident. I just need to go. That's my strategy right now. Be proud in that. Have space for me to be excited about the fact that I'm working on something new. And then 3 is materialize. Materialization is having the actual thing in your hand. Again, this being the third step is crucial because it stops you from creating these extra barriers in order to get something done. It's like, no, let's materialize the work, and then we can make some edits along the way if we need to. We can have the conversation that we need to have. We can step out on faith. We can do the thing. Like, let's materialize the action item, and then the additional steps that we need to take outside of that will happen after the materialization has taken place. So that's where I am. There are a lot of ideas. The merch launch, I'll talk to you about that a couple times, where I've just been straight up scared to do it. With the podcast, there's been some things I'm just like, I don't know if I want to talk about that. Like, I kind of wanted to just keep it. I try to separate Power and Prose and myself, even, where I feel like I've always shared personal stories on the podcast, but because these stories of me trying to navigate my entrepreneurship journey or me navigating my living situation or whatever, I've been trying to shy away from sharing that prose, because that prose isn't prose that is flashy. That prose isn't prose that is buttoned up and clean and cute. And I don't think that y'all require that of me. And I shouldn't require that of me. Jesus doesn't require that of me. I don't have to be perfect in order to show up. And so that is the power tool for this week, is to lose the perfection. You don't need it. Everything that you think you need to go where you're trying to go, you don't need. Some things you do need, and please get them. Some people you do need to talk to. Some applications you need to submit. Some doors you need to knock on, because that's the door that you need to walk through, right? And so I'm not saying that every item on your to-do list is bad, that everything that you're trying to do is holding you back. I do think, though, that as we are striving for our highest self, our best self, as we are looking to go to that next level, as the year is winding down and we have our eyes set on 2024, there are some things that we are attaching to our story, we're putting on our path, that are hindrances for the part of our path that we're on right now. You don't need it right now, that piece. And it is something that will make what you're doing perfect, but perfectionism isn't the goal. And it's honestly not attainable. There are some things that when you get done doing them, some conversations that you have, some places that you go, that at the end of it, you're like, oh, that was perfect. That was exactly what I needed, right? But if you set out for perfection, you'll likely be disappointed every time, because it's not attainable. There'll always be something that shifts. There'll always be something that changes. You'll always see something in hindsight where you're like, this could have been tweaked. That could have been better. I could have been 30 more minutes on time for this, and then I would have been able to do that. Like, there'll be things, right? But when perfectionism isn't the goal, you're able to be content. And that is what God asks us to do, to be content in every season. And that's how we have the hope enough, the faith enough, the love and joy enough to strive for more, to continue to connect, to continue to laugh and enjoy life, because everything doesn't have to be perfect in order for you to move. And that keeps you grounded, it keeps you connected, it keeps you creative, it keeps things light and airy versus bogging yourself down. And I've definitely been bogged down. 2 weeks ago, I was just like, ugh, like, it's just a lot going on. I'm not feeling it, you know what I'm saying? And I wasn't feeling it because it didn't feel perfect. And because it didn't feel perfect, and that was my goal, I hadn't attained the goal. And not attaining that goal made me feel like I had so much more work to do. And I had to prolong things that would make me feel good, because I have to work on getting the perfection. And I had to be honest and say, you won't ever be perfect, and you striving for that and making that the goal is halting all these other things that can bring you the very things that you're looking for in this season right now. So I just want to be honest with y'all about where I've been, what's been holding me up. I don't know, maybe some things that I talk about will change on the show. I'm not really sure, but I am dedicated to showing up. Like, I want to continue to be here. I don't feel like I'm not supposed to. That is what I'll be doing, is showing up, pressing record, coming with intention. Of course, everything will still be rooted in using your voice, but this is me using my voice right now, is that I am changing. Things in my life are changing. I'm getting older. My circumstances have moved. who I hang with is changed. Like, you know, like everything is shifting right now, and it is impacting my creativity. And I try to act like it's not, but it is. If you can relate to that, I want to tell you, you're not alone, and that is okay. And shifts are good. We actually pray for shifts and changes all the time, but when we get them, then we get nervous and intimidated and afraid and scared, and we're wondering what's going to happen, how things are going to unfold. But it's what we're looking for is coming to us in real time. We're watching it. We just got to believe that the moment is here and that it's not the next checkpoint that it's happening, but it's happening right now. So I love you guys. I thank y'all for rocking with me through all the changes, the hips and the dips, because there have been a few on this path. I'm just trying to get comfortable in the new clothes that I'm putting on, and the new path that I'm walking on, the new level that I'm in. And if I can be real, it's not comfortable all the time. I don't feel confident, and I try to come and record and show up when I feel confident in what I'm saying, so that way I'm not just, you know what I'm saying, feeding y'all bull. But I think that even what confidence means, or what I'm putting my confidence in, is changing right now, and that's okay. So yeah, just leave y'all with that. If you can relate, let your girl know. You can find me on all the things. Instagram as Zest of Des, or Power and Prose Podcast. On TikTok as Zest of Des. Y'all know y'all can find me. Everything will be listed in the show notes. And we are gonna keep on rocking. If there's anything that you would like us to discuss, anything about my journey that is a little bit intriguing, you'd like for me to dig more into, let your girl know, and I'll record a video about it if I feel so inclined. So I love you. Remember to profess your power, and there's power in prose. Bye.